sorry. In the last, hour when we tried to pass the webinar about Colombian tech sectors, we didn't show the screen. So you just see me reading about Colombia and about the tech sector. So we decided to go ahead and have a new webinar, and this time we hope that we can record actually the screen. Sorry for those that were watching, and you should tell me something. But anyway, here we are going to Colombian tech markets, and this time, hopefully, your presentation present to everyone. Okay, let's go to the beginning. So, before we start, for all of you having questions or comments, you can ask us questions through the hashtag LatamStartups. Email us to contact@latamstartups.biz, or just add your questions or comments in the comment section below this video. We're answering all questions once the webinar finished. We already have 3 questions, when we tried to make it before. So I'm going to repeat just the answers. If I remember the 3 questions that we have. And, any other questions you have, please let us know. And again, we apologize for the inconvenience before. So we are going to talk about the 3 main tech sectors that are booming up in Colombia. In general, we are going to talk about ICT, more deeply about energy and fintech. I have to point out that there are other sectors that also have reached significant improvement, like biotech and social innovation. Those are very important for the startup ecosystem. And here, those. And we have a place to continue improving for those sectors by biotech and social innovation. So finding solutions around the world that allows Colombian startups to complement their work and in those 2 areas. So Colombia is recognized as development and a leading logistic hub in the region. Several international tech companies are seeking a strategic location to offer their products and services. The improved economic conditions of Colombian citizens have paved the way to become a better business destination. With a population of 47 million people, this country is one of the economies, part of the economies of the Pacific Alliance countries, which are Colombia, Peru, Chile, and Mexico. Basically, the counterpart of Brazil in terms of population and GDP. So, let's start with ICT. The IT sector in Colombia has doubled sales in the last 6 years. You can see here how it has increased hardware and the services, both in the last 10 years. In Colombia, software has grown 8 times in this period of time. By the way, this information has been provided by ProColombia. So thank you for ProColombia for provide all these numbers. Now, Colombia is the largest IT service provided in Latin America behind Mexico and Brazil. So you can see here that there is a good portion of outsourcing. So far, those companies looking for to outsource services can find a fair price in the market in Colombia. And compared with other countries in the world, Colombia is offering good services at a good price. So just take a look of what is going on there. We have the pleasure to be at the Colombia Ring ITON in Toronto, be part of the organization of that. We're very impressed with the quality and the services that some companies are developing that sector in the outsourcing sector. So, what are the type of solutions is bringing Colombia to the market? In demand, business operations and management software, accounting, billing, and inventory and process management software are one of the most popular in the last year. So this is the big portion in this part here. So who are the main players in the IT software and services in Colombia? IBM is the company leading the market with a 12.3%, and then coming up is Oracle with 7%. And something interesting here is to see Carvajal Technology here with a 6%. Why I mentioned Carvajal is because this is a large Colombian company. They have been innovated over the years in different sectors, specialized more like in printing, digital market, all that. And it's worth it to mention this company, started in the 1960s. And it looks like they are ranking here third position in technology, meaning this company is an example for traditional markets innovating and continue transforming to keep up as a leader in the economy. So here, market share and vertical markets. You can see in this graphic that the communications and media industry is at the top of demand in IT services, while software development is highly in demand in the manufacturing industry. Colombians have an internet connection in 44% at homes, and more than 50 million people have access to mobile internet. Close to 62,000 entrepreneurs have transformed the ICT ideas into business in Colombia. In 2018, Colombia expects to double the number of ICT companies. If you are looking for more solutions of information about ICT, we recommend to contact Colombia. They have some good reports in this area. Also find more through other government institutions in Colombia's APSCO and Impulsa. For those who don't know, Impulsa is that's the national entrepreneurship movement supported by government of Colombia. We are going to have some conversation around private institutions that are also supporting startups in Colombia, and they are worth it to for you to contact some point if you are thinking in scaling in this country. So now let's talk about fintech. Fintech, we have to say the modernization process that the industry is having right now in Colombia has resulted in more Colombians opening for online banking and e-commerce, which is producing more startups in the in the fintech area, and also demanding solutions in this specific sector. So you can see here, basically, home business and consumers, communications and media, and discrete manufacturing are the sectors that are really matter in this vertical. Now, according with the World Bank, only about half of the population of adults in Latin America, 51% of them, and the Caribbean had a bank account, and only 14% had formal savings. That's really like, as per the inform we've seen in Forbes, this is something that many companies, entrepreneurs that are developing solutions in this area have to work out, because we have a big part of the population that still don't have access to those services, or simply they don't trust some of these services. So okay, let's move for the next slide. And in the last 2 or 3 years, Colombia has seen an increasing in the quality if events related with fintech and in events related with fintech, and this is not a coincidence. The importance to innovate in this market in emerging countries as Colombia is a key economy for the country. Still, a good portion of people in Colombia prefer to use cash for transactions. The country probably has 5 big banks that have been taking financial sector in Colombia over the past decades, and it's hard to fight against the financial policies in Colombia. This is when you see that there is a great opportunity to disrupt and to find solutions to actually keep to actually, something to support people to move to online banking and payments. As I mentioned it above in one of the slides, the increasing in the use of smartphones in Colombia and the Colombian market represents a good opportunity to develop applications in solutions for online payment. The last event that we have here, the name of the event, Digital Bank Latam, the winner was a startup called Payphone. And the fact that this startup can show a good platform to pay online through smartphones without provide much personal information to make easy the transaction was one of the main, points for them to actually win this competition there. So as Payphone, many other startups in Latin America are developing also solutions in this area, and it's going to keep increasing just because the demand of the market and because the opportunity now to disrupt in the financial sector. As many other countries in the region, the problem with fintech is related with investment, and still the traditional market is not totally convinced of the current solutions in this area, and the market. And this market is difficult to get over some investors to move money into the fintech solutions in Colombia. But Colombia is still providing, trying to provide solutions, expecting that in less than 10 years, a traditional bank will transform itself into a competitive global companies. What are the main bankings? What are the main bankings right now in the market in Colombia? So those are, for example, Grupo Val, BBVA, which is a big bank. Many countries in Latin America they know BBVA. This bank is from Spain, and it reaches several markets in Latin America like Mexico, Chile, Peru. BBVA is very well known in Latin America. Colpatria, Bancolombia, Banco de Bogota, Davivienda, between others. Some things you may consider about banking in Colombia is that foreign cannot open bank account without to have a cédula de extranjería or a visa. The cédula is a document when you become resident in Colombia, and you cannot really open a bank account, unfortunately, in American dollars. Usually people that need to deal with this in regular basis, international transactions, they can open a bank account in American dollars in Panama. Local people don't have the local people don't have it easy either. The cost of operations and transactions for a good portion of the society in Colombia is significantly high for the average income of the Colombians. More and more Colombians are open business in the region, and the bank system needs to improve and require solutions that allow Colombians to make transactions easy and safe. FinTech is mainly developed in Bogota, as the financial sector is stronger in this city than in other cities in Colombia. Now, talking about energy in Colombia. This is one of the most important sectors in the market. Here is where Medellin is a key player in this country. Two of the most important energy companies in the country and in Latin America are located in Medellin. One is ISA and the other one is EPM. Those companies don't just provide energy to the country, they also sell energy to the neighborhood, and they are considered multi-Latinas, which means that they have a strong presence and projects in several other countries in Latin America. Oh, so you can see there, this is the EPM building. No, yeah, there. This is the EPM building, and in particular, it has a really good relationship with Ruta N, the Innovation Center in Medellin, and one of the most important tech hubs in Colombia. For those in Canada, Ruta N works very similar to Mars Discovery District, and for those in Chile, Ruta N also works very similar to the Innovation Center in Universidad Católica. EPM has been able to establish some projects in energy to benefit the population lacking services in this area. Colombia depends of hydroelectricity. It has built several dams. In compared with other countries in Latin America like Chile, Peru, and Uruguay, energy in Colombia is cheap. But still, a good portion of the population don't get energy, and furthermore, the system tends to be inefficient. So there is when prices really get increased, and those increased prices are affecting the most vulnerable population in Colombia. This is why such a large corporation as EPM doing something to improve in this sector is key to the economy, not just in Colombia, but in the region. EPM has in one of his buildings has labs and centers to have research and development for new solutions in the energy sector. And we would like just to show you some of the projects that they have already working. This is the energy project called Kit Solar, which is a pilot project for EPM. And what they do is providing panel solars to some families and schools with really difficult access to energy. So you can see there at least 27 families and 6 schools have been, have this benefit right now. This is the Vehículo Solar Primavera. This is the first Colombian solar car. And I actually participated in the World Solar Challenge in 2013 in Australia. And it was the only representation of Latin America in that particular event. This car uses a solar panel of 1200 watts and reaches 110 kilometers per hour. So there you go, the first Colombian solar car. And then that's also in Medellin, it's Distrito Térmico Alpujarra. This is a project that aims to replace the normal air conditioner that some buildings are using right now for natural gas. So there is still a project, and it's going on right now in Medellin. Now, finalizing, I have to point out that there are several companies helping startups in Colombia. Mainly, you see them located in Bogota and Medellin, and other cities also have some presence, but the strong presence for companies supporting startups are actually in those 2 cities. In Bogota, you get places like Impact Hub Bogota, which is one of the, I wouldn't call it innovation center, but this is a hub that is working social innovation between others. I know that they are well known for social innovation. Hub Bogota, they are working as startups and entrepreneurs. It differs also. Bogota Emprende is more for entrepreneurship in general. And the Atom House, this is a really cool initiative. And they have presence also in Bogota and Medellin. They have a co-work space, they have mentoring, have several tools there to support startups. In Medellin, as I mentioned it before and several times, the tech hub is Ruta N, and they focus mainly in solutions like energy and health. Epicenter is another place in Medellin that you can explore as a startup. And Ruta N in particular works with NXTP Labs. For those that are familiar with this big accelerator in Latin America, NXTP Labs has several locations in all Latin America and connects with Silicon Valley. They are originally from Argentina. They have developed business and some branches in Uruguay, Chile, also, I think in Mexico, obviously Colombia, they are working out, I think Peru now. Uh, and I believe they have a business associate or something similar partner in Brazil. Now, for others, you also may know Guaira, Colombia. They actually are another big accelerator in Latin America. They are in several countries. Where Colombia receives applications from 700 to 800 entrepreneurs per year, which is amazing that we have that level of, number of entrepreneurs happening in Colombia just with applications to Guaira. Okay. So thank you all for attending this webinar about Colombia. And, the next thing that we are going to do is have the LATAM chats about Colombia. We are going to talk with uh, 3 companies from Colombia, startups that are scaling into new markets. And they are going to share with us their experience and how they are growing to the region and to other markets, and also what are their challenges, regarding expanding from Colombia. In February 16th, we are going to invite some guests. This time we are going to have Andres Barreto, Jessica Mercedes, and Carlos Jaramillo. Andres is well known as an investor. He had several initiatives helping startups and supporting startups to grow business, not just in Colombia. He's also moving a lot from New York to Colombia and traveling a lot into those 2 places. And then we had Jessica Mercedes. She's directing Pulso Social. Many of you may know Pulso Social. This is a magazine, well-known magazine in the market, and she's directing that magazine about startups, and they usually do all the news about startups in Latin America. And then we have Carlos Jaramillo from Ruta N. He's the business development guy there, and he's going to talk with us about the opportunities to join, Ruta N and to actually establish business in Colombia. From Ruta N, what are the benefits? What they need really right now to continue growing and supporting startups there in Medellin. So now it seems that it worked. So sorry about that before we didn't have the slides. But any of you can ask us for the PDF for the presentation that we just had with the numbers and with the information we have there. If some of you would like to have the links to the different institutions that are supporting startups, at least the ones that we mentioned, there are many more in the market. And we wanted to be clear that we don't want to actually promote any in particular. What we would like to do for you guys is actually to provide information to how to connect in the market independently. Who does what is more like we don't have a commitment with one specific organization in Latin America that can help startups. We provide information in general and some links in general about people that are doing things right for startups, for Latin American startups growing up. So thank you again for joining us. For those questions that we had before, I remember it was one question about biotech that we mentioned that, yeah, this is, startup sector that is moving up in Colombia, and is still kind of developing. And the person wanted to know, who is developing biotech. Again, Ruta N is one of the places that is developing biotech, but also Colciencias is the other place that is doing research and development. Now, Colciencias probably is more related or supportive with local startups in Colombia, more and scientific people, more than international startups, as far as we know. We may be grown and they may now receive an international startups, but as the information that we have is more that is for locals. Now, for I think somebody else mentioned fashion tech. I mentioned that before in another webinar. Yeah, Medellin in specific has a really great opportunity to develop fashion tech. Um, but this is something that is still very, very, very early stage, really. Somebody developing internationally fashion tech may like to go to Colombia and specifically to Medellin, because it's the fashion, sector in Colombia, and may, provide some solutions in that area, or have kind of like a partner or idea with some locals to develop this sector, because we believe that that is a sector that has a great potential there. Thank you again, and I hope you get this recording of the webinar, and we'll see you in the next webinar next week.